Welcome to the URBONUS podcast, guys. I'm joined by Augustas Šiliauskas, Rytis Vyšniauskas. We're here for Q&A session, and URBONUS Q&A session means that this entire podcast will be exclusively available only for BN Plus members, and you can join BN Plus group on basketnews.com/plus to get a lot of extra features, including full Q&A episodes. And just before we start, a quick shout out to our GM and All-Star subscribers, GMs Jason and GiveMeStats.com basketball stats, and also a group of All-Stars, starting from Kristas Pukitis, Gabrielius Serva, Ionut Gergescu, Nico Zinio, Rafael, Mark, T-Volt, T21, Ivaras, Hufman, Victory, and Nick BG. We have a lot of questions from BN Plus members for this podcast, but we'll start with some fresh games, fresh memories, and the start of this beginning of the double week action. And of course, Red Star, Monaco, and long-awaited Kemba Walker's debut. What were your first impressions, particularly about this guy making his first steps on the EuroLeague floor? Rytis. You had some nice expressions before the podcast.
No, I mean,
not sure how can it sound in English.
It's what can you expect from a guy that hasn't really played for a long time and has been hurt by many injuries in the recent years. I mean, what can you expect? Nobody thought that he will be there, stepping on the court, balling immediately and dropping like 15 or 20 points. I actually thought that maybe Alba Berlin is the more comfortable opponent for him to make his debut, but Sasha Obradović decided to give him, let's say, 2 parts of 5 minutes in this game. Like he played 5 minutes in the first half, almost 5, and a bit more than 5 in the second half as well. I think his second stint was a bit better. He actually got to the free throw line because of a not very smart foul by Shabazz Napier when they were in the bonus. He created some opportunities for his teammates, but in general, it's. I mean, I know for some people maybe it is the highlight of the game that it was Kemba finally playing in the EuroLeague, but to me, there were other things that I was more focused on. It's hard to analyze his performance because you see how far away he is from being, I'm not saying 100%, at least 50%. You can see that he has great handles, but when your legs don't work as they should, your handles don't give you much of an advantage. Although in the very first play, he did a pretty good crossover on Davidovas, and just his shot was short. And actually, all 3 of his shots were short. And to me, that just says that there's not enough in those legs to make these shots off the dribble. But maybe he will get there. Maybe he needs more time. I'm interested to see how he will perform if he plays on Friday versus Alba Berlin, because Alba is not a tough physical team that will play hard defense, and you will probably have more opportunities to score. So maybe he could play even 15 or 20 minutes if everything goes well. Other than that, it was nice to see him with the team. It was nice to see how positive he was on the bench, reacting to every successful play of Monaco. His interviews as well, that big smile that I was used to seeing when he played for Charlotte Hornets or Boston Celtics. He's a very positive guy, and that's great. But as far as what happens on the court, he's far away from being true Kemba Walker.
Yeah, I didn't have any expectations. 2 points, 0 from 3 from the field, 2 from 2 free throws, 2 rebounds, 1 assist in 10 minutes. The guy hasn't played since January, and as you mentioned, it was a bit surprising that he made his debut in this game, because the initial idea was that, okay, Red Star, Stark Arena, this hostile environment, just this environment and the pressure around this game, was not the perfect setup for his debut, knowing the limitation that he might have. And of course, this Alba game on Friday was seen as a more realistic target for his debut night. But from what I understood, it was also a little bit forced by Monaco situation. They started the season 0-2, and in the first 2 games, they were lacking of more scoring options and more help to Mike James since Jordan Lloyd is out. Elio Kobo is not delivering at that level as he may be supposed to, or Monaco is expecting. So maybe they thought that Kemba might add something extra, something different, because the entire team was, I would say, off offensively. So there was an idea that he might help. And in the previous weeks, he looked nice. In the training process, he was feeling okay after going through the contact practices, 5-on-5 practices, and they thought that, okay, he might be ready at least to give us some few minutes. We all see that he's still very raw, but yeah, you cannot take out that smile that he has. Yeah. Just a good feeling to be back on a basketball court again, because there were a lot of doubts despite him signing the contract with Monaco until the very last months or weeks before his debut. There were still question marks. Can he really play a single game for Monaco due to his health status, due to his knees? And he was under constant radar of Monaco, of medical staff, if he will be ready to play. And now he's on the court. Let's hope he.
But I think these question marks still remain. I mean, the fact that he played 10 minutes and just basically gave some rest to either Elio Kobo or Mike James doesn't prove a point. It doesn't prove that he's ready. It doesn't prove that he's gonna have a good season with Monaco. It's just the first tiny little step. And again, as I said, hopefully he can perform on Friday. Initially, when they signed Kemba Walker, I thought that the only way it could work out is if he doesn't really play French League games, probably plays only one of two games in the double game weeks in EuroLeague. And knowing what was his main issue in the NBA, let's say last year in 2022, he scored 32 points for Dallas Mavericks, and then he was out because the guy wasn't unable to play 2 games in a row. And now, okay, maybe you're taking care of him in the training process. He only has to play 1 game a week. Maybe it's doable. But again, he still needs to find the rhythm. Yeah. Because, like I said, when you're dribbling the ball, even if you're very good at it, if your feet don't work, it doesn't give you any advantage because you're just dribbling with your hands. I mean, he has to regain his quickness and everything. Of course, Zvezda were targeting him on defense. And
it's one of the worst matchups probably for guys like Kemba in terms of physicality and
okay, but in this game approach. At least you had, let's say, Teodosic on the other side or Shabazz who wasn't having a good game, so you could sort of hide Kemba Walker defensively a little bit. Zvezda played a lineup where Shabazz and Teo were both on the court, so Monaco responded with Mike James and Kemba Walker also being on the court. You couldn't do that against some of the more physical teams that have taller guards, let's say. I'm just happy for Monaco because they got their first win, and I'm happy to see Kemba Walker again smiling. Other than that, I don't think we should try to analyze his performance seriously.
Yeah, he has to get back like in good shape before Jordan Lloyd comes back, I think, because after that, then the rotation gets bigger. How many minutes then he gets, because Jordan Lloyd is not coming back to play 15 minutes. That's for sure. So I'm glad he came back. I'm glad he has some more time until Lloyd comes back to get into his shape. And then it will be interesting how Sasha Obradovic plays these 4 guys, together, how he shares the minutes, if Kemba is still in the rotation or not. But I think, we talked about Kemba.
I just have one last note about else? Kemba as a content creator. I think that this debut night for EuroLeague content creators was such a missed opportunity. Okay, I mean, we basketball geeks, we know his limitations. We didn't have any expectations for his debut night, or even we don't have high expectations for this season in general in the EuroLeague. But, in social media world, just looking at a bigger picture, that was an important game for the EuroLeague. And I was so disappointed, basically, not to see any of Kemba Walker, footage before the game. There was this viral video at the season opener night in Stark Arena, where Zvezda was hosting as well. And there was this video with Zvezda fans, jumping, screaming all over the place. You couldn't hear EuroLeague anthem. And there was Shabazz Napier on the screen. And when this video was posted on social media, last week it had at least 12 million views. That's a very good promotion for the EuroLeague basketball, especially when you have former NBA and well-known NBA...
Four-time NBA All-Star.
Face. I'm talking about Shabazz Napier right now.
Oh, Shabazz.
And
okay.
I remember there were a lot of comments, is that Shabazz Napier? So it also went viral in the United States. Now we have Kemba Walker. And you mentioned his smile. I saw the smile was all over the place, all over his face when he was just entering the court and the team during the team presentation. And just put one camera on him during the anthem of the EuroLeague when Zvezda is stealing, if Zvezda fans, they're stealing the spotlight. I remember there was this, probably you also remember, there was this viral Charles Jenkins' sister video where she was like acting like this when for the first time she had an experience to be in, I think it was Stark Arena. And when she saw all those fans jumping during the EuroLeague anthem, and it got a lot of views, 150K or something. You can imagine what kind of influence and impact on social media Kemba's reaction could have had for the EuroLeague presence in the NBA and, worldwide.
Actually, a strange thing is that I was working on that game, so as usual, I arrive 30 or 40 minutes before the broadcast starts, and on the feed that we get, we had the coaches' interviews as always, and also an interview with Kemba Walker, pre-game interview, and Shabazz Napier. Two good friends from UConn University.
Yeah, they won.
There was
the
already
NCAA.
also a video of them greeting each other in a weight room before the game.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is that, so we saw that on the feed. Kemba was asked like 3 or 4 questions by the reporter.
Okay.
And his answers were really nice. He was asked about the atmosphere. He responded saying that I love passionate fans. That's the way the sport is supposed to be. He said that I've been following Zvezda a little bit because of my brother, talking about Shabazz. We saw some film of how they play and how their fans support them. And he said he's very excited about making his EuroLeague debut and all that stuff. And then Shabazz answered a couple of questions. And these things didn't go on the international feed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, so on this special occasion, since it's Kemba's debut, they will have extra interviews on top of the usual coaches' interviews. Didn't happen.
So they showed only the coaches?
Yeah, as usual. The usual international feed routine. You start 15 minutes before the tip-off. You see the arrival of the guest team, then the coaches' interview, then the arrival of the home team, coaches' interview, and then you get on the court, see the warm-ups, see some stats, prepare for the tip-off,
all that stuff.
blah, 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 and that's the usual routine. So they had those interviews. Maybe they were for Serbian television, I don't know.
But Kemba is bigger than just Serbian television or it's French TV. So
Probably.
again, I just see it as a big missed opportunity for the EuroLeague product in general. But yeah, enough of Kemba.
You said big missed opportunity. That sounds like Zvezda. Second game in a row in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
How about that for a transition?
That's a nice transition.
Because I still think we have to talk about, what
Game,
happened
because
in this game.
Kemba's 10 minutes was not the highlight of the game.
Yeah. So I have a stat for you guys.
This was just a part of our URBONUS Q&A podcast. If you want to see the full episode, please subscribe to BM Plus and you will get a lot of exclusive, interesting content.